There are three critical steps when it comes to influencing under pressure. The first critical step is gaining clarity on your message. The second is building confidence in your message. So, what you're thinking actually comes out of your mouth in tone and your gesture. So, building confidence prior to influence. And then the third critical step is really tactically building influence, that is mentally and also tactically building that influence. And so this video is going to focus specifically on critical step number three, which is influence. And the first step of influence is how to prepare mentally prior to influencing, especially influencing under pressure. Now, most people leave out this step, and it can be devastating to the outcome, either with your peers, your leadership, or with customers. And this is based on the research with world class performers, world class athletes, Olympians, and some of the most prolific leaders that I work with in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, and across the country. So, this framework is titled the ECO Mindset Model. That's ECO, which is an acronym for empathy, curiosity, and optimism. And this is the pre work, the mental preparation to do before influence. So, starts with empathy. So, in other words, empathy is a lot different than sympathy. What empathy means is not just thinking about what it's like to be the other person, but it's actually taking on the persona of the other person. So, let's say you're going into a negotiation with your CEO and you're trying to push through an initiative, thinking of, I am the CEO. What pressure am I under? Who is squeezing me? What pressure is the board putting on me? What's most important to me? What are my negotiation styles? In other words, what is the language that I understand and that's important to me? So it's really standing in his or her shoes, putting on his or her goggles, and giving a 360 vision of what it's like to be that person. And then, second, is curiosity, and that is being curious. Again, truly curious what it is like to be that person. And wrapped in curiosity is also compassion, because if we tend to stand in someone else's shoes, even someone who that we are at odds with, or someone who's maybe not even treating us that well, or someone who's being stubborn, or someone who we don't understand, it's incredibly important to be curious about their perspective and stand in their shoes. And finally, optimism. That is so important, even if you're pushing for something new or if you've been shot down many times. It's incredibly important to think about, rather than catastrophize. Human beings are negative by nature. That's what the research says, especially if we've had negative experiences in the past. But when we're going into a negotiation, especially one under pressure, especially one that maybe hasn't gone ideally in the past, or it's a big ask, something really new, it's important for us to think about, how do we want it to turn out? Because ultimately, vision is going to drive decision. And also, our mental preparation and developing an eco mindset is going to be incredibly important, because what we're thinking tends to come out of our mouth, in our tone, in our gestures. And the research shows that what is perceived by us, it's only 7% in our words. So if we don't do this pre-work, even if tactically you are prepared ideally, it is not going to land as intended. So be sure that you use the eco mindset model to develop empathy, curiosity, and optimism as the runway to prepare for your next crucial conversation, especially if it's one that's under pressure or one that's highly important.